Hello, my name's Gary Taylor, and in this we're going to do an introduction to Kata with Go. In my previous videos we looked at .NET Core, but in this I just want to demonstrate Go just to show you how easy it is to generate a client in a different language. So let's get started. Okay, in this video we're going to look at Kata but from a different angle. Now, I'm normally focused on .NET, but here I want to show you the power of Kata is that it's not language dependent. It can produce the client in a number of different languages. So today we're going to have a look at Go. So let's head over. The first thing we need to do really is to create a folder structure and a couple of files. It's missing from documentation, so I recommend you do what I say, which is to create a working directory and then create your main file, create the API file, and then the assets. So we can see here that I'm creating the file, I'm going to initialize it. I'm going to touch the main and then I'm going to touch the API so that I've got them files available for me to copy and paste the sample work in. So the next step is dependencies. There's a number of dependencies needed. I recommend you go away and have a look at each one of these to really get an idea of what's going on under the hood. So this is just a matter of copying and pasting them into the terminal, and them dependencies will be loaded straight into Go for you. I always like to have a look at the Go file just to make sure that the dependencies have gone in the way I expect, but that's just me. So there we can see them dependencies being loaded in and me just having a look at the Go file. We can see them dependencies have been loaded into a Go mod. So now we need to take the sample code, if you like, of the API, the open API spec. And this can be loaded into, Swagger Hub or something like that to visually see, so you can have a look at it, before you run this test. But for now, I'm just going to open up the file that we created earlier and paste it in that content. So now that we've got this, we've kind of got a spec. We've got the file structure and the data that we need to generate our client from. So if we head back to the documentation, what we should be able to do now is generate it. This is really the essence of all the work. This is the meat and potato or the real boy. What we're doing here is we're running the Kata CLI and we're going to generate the Go code. Now notice the command line when we say L -L Go, that's to say the language that we want to use. And then of course here we want to use Go. We're going to make a client directory that all of our code is going to be injected into. And we're going to use that example API spec to generate it. So next, our main file is looking a little bit bleak. So what we want to do is just take this sample code from the main, which has got a couple of examples, which we'll go through in a minute. Let's find our main file. Let's make sure I've got it copied first. Let's head over to our main file and let's paste that in. Time for a bit of coffee. So now we've got all the bits and pieces. Let's run this and see what we win. If we're really lucky, what we should be able to do is see a range of things that happens. We should be able to run this and see that we are making a call out to the API. We're able to return back articles. They're called posts, but I'm going to refer to them as articles. So we get a load of articles back. We're able to create an article, get a particular article, and delete an article. And all that's really happening here is we are taking the elements of this document and we are converting that then to code. So we can see here, I'm going to refer to it as articles. We've got articles for getting articles, for updating, for getting a particular article using the article ID. And then we have the ability to patch, so just update a little bit and delete. So really your essence of a traditional CRUD application, if you like, but with some sprinklings of patches put in. And this code is very simple. If you've done a little bit of Go, you're going to be able to follow this. Where first thing we want to do is have an authentication engine. We want to be able to swap that out, with OAuth authentication engines or bearer token authentication engines. So we get that, and we get our OAuth, and we get our HTTP adapter, and now we've got an adapter that we can use within our client. This is pretty powerful because it means we can swap out HTTP adapters on the fly and just pass them in. So we could build our own if we wanted to. So you can see here that we've got that client, and that client is actually coming from the Kiota Post client. So that is our real boy. And that client then can be used to make calls. So we can say, get a client, connect to the articles, and get them all. And of course, using context, we can get that. So we can see here that this is the articles. And we can see here client, articles, get. And because we're not passing any arguments in, we're going to get all of them. So all of the articles will come back. If we want to get a particular article, here the documentation shows us that it's articles and the ID. So that translates really well to code. We have our client, we have the articles, and then we can get article by integer or ID. We also, of course, have the ability to create, and I'm not going to run through all of these, but just to show you how the Swagger document really does tightly couple in a good way to the way that the client's built. So here we're creating a new article, we're populating it with all the data that we want. Now we can do client, articles, post, and pass in the article that we want to create. And that's going to give us back that brand new article that's been created. So realistically, we couldn't get any simpler. If we look at patch is going to be exactly the same. It's going to be generating it, but just with a few parameters and then sprinkling that in. So let's head over and have a look just to show you that. Here we've got a new article, as I'm going to call it. I've got just a little bit of data of the title pushed in, so we're able to update a particular article. Because we're updating an article, this is a bit more complex. We've got to get our client, get the article, and then get the article by its ID, and then perform a patch on it. But these are all logical sequences. These are all things that make sense. You guys still here? Wow. We're done. We're finished. Well, thank you for getting to the end of the video. Great job, gang. And remember, please do me a favor, click that subscribe button wherever it might be, and also that little like button. Thank you very much.